What do? We give them safe space. Our own people are feeding them lies instead of correcting them. And say, wait a minute. Not because we don't want to, because we're afraid. Because the system is failing us.
Listen, this system and the injustice, you have to be able to have that thunder voice to say, you're fucking with us in a very methodical way by the system. This injustice is coming from your system. And at the same time, we need to have that representative in such a way to be able to articulate it.
It was either do or die. And I'm not justifying anything. But what I am saying is that there's people out there that need help. And if they don't get that help, they're going to do whatever they can to survive. And I think that's your point. And that's why Malcolm X and MLK primary goal was to bring down these color lines and address poverty. So because they knew that if that problem can be solved, that would be one less major fight to deal with. And it would help us get into a playing field where we're even instead of an uphill climb.
Lucky Boys Podcast.
You need to make politicians uncomfortable. That's why giving them a safe space, as we did yesterday, is not the solution. Lyndon B. Johnson didn't say, hey, let me hand over the civil rights, to you guys, let's change all the laws. He told the black community, let me know how bad you want it. Dr. Martin Luther King.
He was one
Martin
racist
Luther King
motherfucker.
decided to, but at least he's practical. At least he listened. He did not give bullshit, right? I mean, I'm not a historian, but at least he says, you show me how bad you want it, I'll do something. And the African community did. For 10 years, they marched.
So you're saying that our people who are at the forefront fighting for this are enabling the politicians to promote their agenda, giving them a safe space, using this as a platform to furthering their name or their personal agenda within the political climate, rather than making actual change. They're using the guys that are fighting for us, the ones that have that clout right now on social media, that go, oh, you're the one that's fighting for us, and using them to boost their ratings. Is that it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying immigrants are born optimists. Otherwise, we would just stay where we are and don't look for better options. And I don't have a reason to believe that these guys are bad people. I'm sure they are. But I would just say, dig a little bit deeper. Really understand the people you're supposed to represent. Don't look through your lenses. Don't look through that from other people's lenses. Talk to them. I'm fortunate because I grew up in Chinatown. These are the people I grew up with. And they share with me those real experience. Right? How many of them actually know that they actually brought not 10 $1 bills, $10 so that the guy said, okay, I'm taking that 10 and I'm not going to punch them. Right?
And they're still gambling because
right?
you're not even sure when after they check your money, they're going to jack you up again.
Right. But is it because they are, because they're weak? Or because they just want to make sure they can go home and cook a damn meal for you so you can go to school?
Yeah.
And they fight? Are the cops, are the police protecting them? Right? So, I mean, we need to really think about this.
No, you're right. My parents, I didn't understand this when I was a kid. And maybe a lot of people listening didn't understand as well when they were kids. But as an adult, I can tell you that everything my parents did, it was always about the big picture. They looked at us first. And I can't tell you how many sacrifices they made just so that...
to better you. To make you better.
Yeah.
And to make your children, for the next 7 generations, better. And the thing is, it's hard, the fact that what Don was saying earlier as far as like what we have to take care of, what we have to do. And it's hard because back in our time growing up, we didn't have a safe space. We didn't have a cry closet. We ate, and you have to remember, sometimes you have to be in a very uncomfortable place to find those solutions, because once you're safe, then You let your guard down and you let other people to try to do things for you, but that's not how things are supposed to get things done. You don't find solutions in comfortable spots. You find solutions in the hardest areas, and that's why when we, in our family, when we eat bitter, I mean, that term is a generational term.
Yeah.
You don't eat bitter in a safe space. And this is where that political correctness and that filter, that bullshit that comes into me, throw that shit out the window. Because, man, you're going to have a safe space and all in this cry closet. I said, listen, I fucked up on my exam. I'm not going to find a room to cry. You get back on the books and you do better.
Don, you mentioned we need to apply more pressure and make them uncomfortable. I could not agree more. I think for a lot of Asian Americans throughout the United States and across the world, they're new to this. This is very new to all of us in terms of what's going on. You could say coronavirus kickstart this, and people are looking for an outlet or a reason to get at us or target our communities throughout the world. And a lot of them are used to being in a comfortable space in their own bubble. And the people that I'm meeting when I go out to these rallies, when I'm out here volunteering, or when I see you guys and how I met you, right, for the first time, the conversations that took place and what was the reoccurring theme was, this is my first time being involved in anything. So being that there are so many people new to this, they're not really sure how to navigate this. So people that are more experienced, like the politicians, like the people that had, I guess, many repetitions of this, they'll know how to move further. So the people that are new to this space are just going to follow who the thought leaders are in this space, and perhaps without too much questioning. And the points that you raise, I think, are very important. We have to drill a step further. We have to look into things deeper. Are we culturally afraid to report something?
It's not an afraid thing. It's more of a condition, because once again, that moral minority sets in. And I've said it before that we don't have a Chinese Al Sharpton that can be loud and tactically articulate what we need. We don't have a Chinese Malcolm X where we can be able to stand in front of a microphone in front of the population and say, listen, this system and the injustice, you have to be able to have that thunder voice to say, you're fucking with us in a very methodical way by the system. This injustice is coming from your system. And at the same time, we need to have that representative in such a way to be able to articulate it like a Malcolm X. As much as I'm not too crazy about Al Sharpton, he's out there with that voice when it's needed, and people will listen.
I think that for us to really respect and want to do something right, let me just say this, to make people uncomfortable, it's simple. Tell the truth. Don't tell what sounds like the truth, the real truth. That's enough for them to feel uncomfortable. But if we're really going to talk about civil rights, let's finish the job that they died for us for. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, I would not be here without them. But their job is not finished. What is their job ultimately? Is to eradicate poverty. That has not been done. It's a class more than class, than it is race.
I think we said
These people, this is not happening. Andrew Yang didn't get his ass kicked. Yeah, some New York Times journalist, someone called him something. But that's very different from a knife stab into your back. That's very different from you have to borrow $10 when you go home late because you have to work extra hours. That's very different from what people in the hood in Chinatown are living every day. So if we really going to solve this problem, we don't need the symbolism. That's a tool. I'm not saying it's do whatever you need to do to get the message out. But stay focused on what this is about. It's eradicating poverty. And that is the one failure that is the one goal that have not been fulfilled. All right. New York City, according to, what is it? Andrew Yang, right? Our budget is if it's a country, it's with the 11th in the world. Yet we have extreme poverty. The people getting killed, the food delivery guys, are not happening on the Upper East Side. You know where it's happening. Does that mean because I hate black people? No, because I want, let's solve the problem by eradicating the poverty that's there.
So poverty is a catalyst to all of this, whether it's a black community, an Asian community, whatever community. If poverty is causing this.
There's no question about it.
You know, Mike Tyson, I heard Mike Tyson on a podcast say something interesting where he said he used to, in his former life, before he was known as Iron Mike Tyson, said something to the point of he used to rob people. He openly says it. He used to rob people, mug people. And they questioned him. Some rapper said he thinks that Mike Tyson actually robbed his mom when he was a kid while he was with his mom. And Mike Tyson, very sorry about it. He's an adult now. He's a different person then. And he said, you know what? If I robbed you back then you probably had more than me. And that was his whole reason, because he was in a place of poverty and he needed help. It was either do or die. And I'm not justifying anything, but what I am saying is that there's people out there that need help. And if they don't get that help, they're going to do whatever they can to survive. And I think that's your point. And that's why Malcolm X and MLK primary goal was to bring down these color lines and address poverty. So, because they knew that if that problem can be solved, that would be one less major fight to deal with. And it would help us get into a playing field where we're even instead of an uphill climb.